Okay, here is first of two videos on lesson 99, z-scores. This is going to be the shorter of the two, I'm sure. This is the Ti84 edition, and specifically likely the Ti84 Plus or the Ti84 CE, one of those. So if you have a Ti83, do not watch this video. You are going to get your own video. Just look for that one, okay? It'll be right in the title. So let's go through the notes real quick, and then I'll show you how to answer these questions on your Ti83. Ti84. Losing my mind already. All right, so let's go to the notes. Z-score is a values z-score. The definition of a z-score is that a values z-score expresses how many standard deviations it is from the mean. Now here's the formula: z equals x minus mu over sigma, or value minus mean over standard deviation, and you'll keep 3 decimal places where applicable. But here's the thing: all of this is actually not very useful because you don't need them with your Ti84. There's some Ti84 cheat codes. Now, when you are going to find these answers, you're going to be using the norm CDF function. The norm CDF is found under second vars on your calculator. When you press norm CDF or normal CDF, I believe it's normal CDF, it'll give you 4 things that it wants. It wants the lower, the upper, mu, and sigma. So this is your left boundary, value. It's super messy. The upper is your right boundary value. Mu is the mean, and that O thing is sigma, or the standard deviation. And all you should have to do is put in those 4 values, press enter twice, and it'll give you the answer. So here's how you do it with between values. So if we were doing something like between the values of 8 and 12, this is really simple actually. 8 is going to be my lower, and 12 is going to be my upper. Remember that this is only for Ti84 style, right? If your input for norm CDF looks like this, you are on the right video. So that's my lower and that's my upper. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at trying to find out what percentage of the data falls in this range. Now, where did these numbers come from? Well, the context of the question says the amount of time students work in any given week is normally distributed with a mean of 10 hours per week and a standard deviation of 2.2 hours. So 10 and 2.2 are going to be very important. The mean of 10 hours is going to go in the middle. So the mean of 10 hours goes right here. To go to the right, we are adding sigma, which is 2.2. Okay, so we're adding 2.2, that's 12.2. Adding 2.2 again, that's 14.4. Adding 2.2 one more time, and that is 16.6. As I move to the left, I'm going to subtract 2.2. So this is 7.8. Subtract 2.2, and this is going to be 5.6. Subtract 2.2 again, and it's going to be 3.4. So that's where these numbers come from on the graph. So let's go back to the question. So 8 is my my lower. So 8 is going to be right around here, right? A little higher than 7.8 on the number line. And 12, my upper, is going to be right around here. So we want to find out what percentage, what probability falls in this range here. So all you have to do in your calculator, Ti84 people, is you hit second vars, go to norm CDF, and it's going to ask you for a couple things. It's going to ask you for the lower, that's 8, the upper, which is 12, mu, which looks a little more U-shaped in your calculator. Mu is going to be 10, and sigma is going to be 2.2. Now I should be able to go to my calculator, hit enter, enter, and it will give me some decimal. Now for me, I don't have a Ti84, so I can't just switch to that app for you. But what I can do is I can just check the answer from earlier using the Ti83 method. So just give me 1 second, I'll verify that answer for you. And when you hit enter a couple times, it will give you this number, 0.6366. We can move the decimal place twice because we want to make it a percentage, 63.66 or 63.7%. Now, if you had to do the next question, question 5, which is below a value. So they said less than 9 hours is what they're interested in. What is the percentage that are less than 9 hours? So what we're going to do is we're going to use a large negative lower boundary, and you're going to use your given upper boundary. Because what we're looking at here, the region less than 9 hours is right around here. And we're talking less than, which means that we're shading in this direction. So this over here is my upper, and my lower is somewhere off over here on the left-hand side, somewhere off the screen. So we're just going to use some number that would be down here. So let's see, 7.8, 5.6, 3.4. We can use any number that's like further in this direction. So I could use 0, I could use -10, any of those would be fine. So here's what we do. I've got my lower, I got my upper, I've got mu, and I've got sigma. My lower is going to be anything, right? It could be 0, or it could be -10, or it could be -100. It doesn't matter, as long as it's far to the left. Now my upper, I know, right? My upper is going to be 9. My mu and my sigma, I know. Mu is 10, sigma is 2.2. When I plug those into my calculator, the answer I should get is 0.3245, 0.3245, which if I move the decimal place twice, gets me 32.45%, or you could just say 32.5%. And lastly, if we need to find something that's above a certain value, like more than 14 hours, you're going to use the given lower bound. Okay, now this is 14, about here. More than 14 means we're shading this way. So I know my lower boundary, but I'm not sure about my upper. My upper just has to be something off in this direction. So what's a number that would be off in this direction? 14.4, 16.6, 30, 40, anything that's like off in that direction. So let's say like 40. That's big enough. So I go to my calculator. I got my lower, my upper, my mean, and my standard deviation. So my lower is going to be 14. My upper is going to be 40 or 400. It doesn't matter. 4,000 could be any of them, as long as it's bigger than the numbers on here. Mu is still 10, and sigma is 2.2. So if I throw that into my calculator, I'm going to get this number, 0.0345. If I move the decimal place twice, I get 3.45%, or you could even just round that to 3.5%. And that's the end of the TI-84 instructions, so good luck with them homework questions.